Your love, flame, flame, always sets me free. Oh yeah, when I start my day with you, 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 I'm in a good place, you know it. I'm in a good place, you know it.
Ye have heard that it was said of them of old time, Thou shalt not kill, and whoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. Old time is a reference to Moses' unveiling the 10 Commandments, the sixth of which, Thou shalt not kill, can be taken literally. Obviously, many people do. They persist to this day doing it that way. However, let's explore the 10 Commandments for a moment and review what it is we know about them. First of all, the exact translation of the title from Hebrew to Greek is not the 10 Commandments at all, but instead the 10 statements. Okay? So a commandment, from where I sit, from God does not make a lot of sense to me from people who are supposed to have, designed to have free will. Why on the one hand would you give me free will and then mandate me to follow certain laws? Doesn't really work for me. And let's also remember that these statements are presented on 2 massive stone tablets. You've heard the phrase etched in stone. Well, these work, right, as they were presented. No room for interpretation. They are presented as unchanging and immovable on the surface. As we analyze it, how many of us would be free to grow and to evolve and come from our Christ selves as a practice if we believed that there are hard and fast commandments, supposedly from a loving God? It's incongruent with the idea that we are made in the image and likeness of God. And the reason why I say this is, if God is all good, then surely we, as God's divine offspring, must be all good too. It's something we believe and embrace in unity, right? So ask yourself, why would a person who is all good need to be presented with strict, hard and fast commandments as if we are bent on and have a great desire to do the wrong thing instead of being drawn to the right, loving act? Wouldn't it make more sense that the offspring of God would be set on an earthly path of discovering, or perhaps in some instance, rediscovering our true divine essence? I think of it as a waking up rather than a shaking up, you know? I don't know about you, but my spiritual evolution has been far more gentle than this depicted fire and brimstone, absolute, inflexible path. God whispers to me. God whispers to me by way of inner promptings and subtle sensations. I get messages in my dreams as well that carry with them divine wisdom, which when acted upon only expand my love and life. Those messages for me, if indeed from God, are never wrapped in fear, but always floating in love. Kind of incongruent with the way the 10 Commandments are presented, right, for those of us who have read them. So there have been no thunderous bolts of lightning, seas parting, or bushes burning for me. These are but mere symbols that are meant to be metaphysically interpreted if we are to really get at the more important messages, right? We're not trying to run from all that is bad and wrong and evil in us, but instead trying to reconnect, remember, and become receptive to our divine essence, which is of a loving, powerful, and all-wise God. That's the difference right there. That is the difference. That's the difference in the viewpoint. We're not miserable sinners that need checklists of right and wrong, but wonderful divine children of a loving God who are in the process of reconnecting with our true selves. So when something doesn't seem to fit quite right for me or make much sense from where I sit, I know it's a clue for me to look deeper. Look beyond the message on the surface of the statement to a deeper, more helpful meaning just beyond the surface. And before I do, I don't want to alienate anybody here, and I don't want to presume to say that anyone who feels in their soul that it is right for them to interpret these statements purely literally, that's absolutely fine. Everybody has a path to walk on in this incarnation. The beauty of the statements and the wisdom of the statements of the Bible and other books that are divinely inspired is that there is something for everyone. Same statement, but depending upon where we are in our personal evolution, and if you believe in reincarnation, even more so, we can all take something from it, right? So if that feels right for you, if that resonates with you, by all means, stay with that. So there are many things that we can get out of one statement, out of this one statement and all the other 10 statements. I encourage us to go within, meditate, and see what they mean to us. That's the real work. You can hear my interpretation, you might resonate with it, you might not. The important work is for you to go and interpret it and apply it to your own lives. How are we moved to do just that? Okay, so with all that being said, what else, maybe you've thought about it, what else could "thou shalt not kill" possibly mean? Is there some message there for me, beyond the obvious, that may help me to be a more evolved, productive, happy, joy-filled person, increasing my awareness of God and my connection to my Christ self? Let's start with Charles Fillmore. I always forget when you announce you have a Fillmore room. That tickles me. I think that's wonderful. If we turn to Charles about an overall interpretation of these 10 commandments or 10 statements, he's going to tell us two very important things right off the cuff. Number one, the name Moses translates to mean, metaphysically, drawing out or extracting, and specifically drawing out of water. And metaphysically, you may know that water means the human nature or the human mind, right? So we're extracting. The name Egypt signifies the darkness of ignorance, or as interpreted by Emmett Fox in his book, The 10 Commandments, some of you may have read that, he goes on to say that it's a limitation, a belief in matter, our fear, or a lack of faith in God, okay? So Moses drawing out or extracting, and the name Egypt, the darkness of ignorance. So let's follow this. If Moses, meaning drawing out or extracting, went up to the mountaintop, meaning the higher realms of consciousness, to deliver these statements to us, would it not seem to imply that humans are coming out of a lower state of consciousness, namely sense consciousness, those things that we can experience, relate to, feel with only our 5 senses, and instead being led to something far greater, more valuable, beyond the surface, the material, or the physical realm? If this is true, and this makes sense to you, then these 10 commandments / statements are to steer us, refocus us, awaken us to the higher realm. And this being the case, there would have to be more. It would only stand to reason that there would have to be more than merely a focus on the material world through these 10 statements. And that is exactly and precisely what Jesus is going to help us with in this specific section on the Sermon on the Mount. He will ensure that we look beyond the surface meaning to what is more valuable and helpful to us, his beloved. He will take us on a journey of expanding this law past the physical. The physical is level 1. We are going to higher levels of consciousness and interpretation with the help of Jesus, the Master Teacher, today.